Oh well, I'm Dan McDougall and started something new called Volume Dealer. Started it's a new online show that we've got started. It's live music and interviews with, at this stage anyway, Melbourne's finest live bands. We're hoping to take it sort of Australia wide and international bands at some stage, but for the time being, we'll just focus on Melbourne bands. And yeah, so we've actually just launched it today, and onward and upward we go.
Sensational, Dan. Thanks for joining us this evening.
My pleasure.
So we have actually caught you on a special day, mate, because it was today that you launched the exciting new slice of musical beauty with Volume Dealer. So I know what I've read about it, but it's probably better off coming from your mouth because you know about it, bro. So you gave us a little bit of a intro there, but tell us what Volume Dealer is and what you plan to achieve with it.
Yeah, so okay, so like I said, it's just a new online show where we're going to we get bands in to the studio, film them and record them live, probably anywhere between 5 and 7 songs. And then after the live set's done, I'll then sit down with one of the members and interview them for a little bit. And then we just take all that footage and compile it into an episode. And at this stage, the format is we do a song and then a little bit of interview, and then a song, then a little bit of interview, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so we had our first episode come out today, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it's all turned out.
The wonders of editing, mate. Like if you had someone playing in the studio and you stopped after every song and asked them a question and got them back up there again, they'd get the shits pretty quick. But yeah, you can have them play
Probably, man, it would not be a good way to do it. No,
stuff
no.
together and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I figured it's, while I got the band here on the night or during the day or whenever we do it, it's just better to kill two birds with one stone and get the interview done on the same day. It is a lot to get through, well, especially once a band's, exerted themselves and just, given it their all in a live performance, and then sort of come back in and do an interview. But so far they've been really receptive to it, and yeah, it's working out so far.
Wait, and is this like a new idea that you just suddenly run with, mate, or is it something you've been sort of gestating on for a while?
It's actually something I've wanted to do for a very long time. We're talking, yeah, talking years now. This is something that I've really wanted to do. I've always loved recording live bands, and filming them as well, and trying to capture that real essence of a band, which I feel is what you get with a live performance. And studio recordings to me are something on another level. Like you can do live recordings at shows, but there's so many variables to how that can go wrong, and how you might, all it takes is one mic not to work or something to happen with the cameras, or just there's a lot of variables with that. And whilst it's good, I find that the studio environment gives me a greater level of control over what's happening, and I can capture, and it's a little bit more intimate as well. That's the other thing that I like about it. And so, yeah, so setting it up here and getting it happening, and it just means that I can capture the things the way that I want to, and really try and hone in on capturing the band and their performance and their essence basically. Which yeah, happy to say that the first band that we launched said that to me in a message, and after they saw the episode, and I was stoked to hear that, because that's our aim, it's to really sort of just tap in and try and actually capture the band in all their glory.
Mm. So once you've actually recorded and playing live in the studio, like, do you go away and do much tweaking with it, or you trying to keep it as raw as possible?
Um, I, in the sense that I'll try and keep it as raw as the performance can possibly be, but also trying to make it sound as good as I possibly can too. So, the interesting thing about what we're doing here is that the room that we're in is very small. Like it can compare, like if you're trying to record a live band, you've got some of the problems you've got is all the bleed coming from all the mics, and we're not baffling anything. We want it to sort of look like a live performance as opposed to being in a studio with everyone wearing headphones and having everything baffled off and all that. It's just that, to me, takes away that spontaneity and that essence. So we're dealing with a few problems with trying to minimize all that stuff. So I'm trying, when I mix it, to get it to sound as good as I possibly can, and to sort of to try and get it to almost sound as good as a studio recording if I can, as close as I can. but without losing any of the actual performance. If anything, I'm trying to enhance that and make it even better. I'm trying to get as good a quality product as you could possibly get. And so far, I'm really happy with the audio capture in the room. I've figured out a few little things here and there and ways I can get around the bleed and stuff like that. And yeah, so far I'm really, really happy with the audio. It's coming up a treat.
Wow. And it's not just you undertaking this venture either, bro. You got your brother Ando with you as well. So
I do.
to find roles in what you're doing, or are you sort of just all making up as you go along a bit?
At this stage, he's just helping me out with some of the filming and also liaising with some of the bands as well that we want to get involved in the project. And as time goes on and we build things up and get things bigger, his role will then increase. And said there's other stuff we'll discuss as well that he'll sort of become involved in. But it was my brainchild and something that I've wanted to do. And for the time being, I am sort of doing the lion's share of the work. But yeah, as we grow this into something, which I hope we can grow it into something bigger, yeah, his role will definitely increase as well. But yeah, he's been great being able to work with my brother and do something with him again. I've played in bands with him over the years, but it's been a while since we've actually done something together. So yeah, it's been really good.
All right. And is he actually genuinely interested in it, or is he just helping
Oh, of course.
out?
Totally, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he loves it as well. Yeah, this is our bread and butter, man. We've been playing in bands since we were 15 years old. So that's saying something. That's what, 30 years. So this is what we know and what we love. So yeah, no, we're pumped about the whole idea. Actually, it's something sort of new and different that we haven't really done before. We've sort of usually been on the other side of things, but now we're sort of starting to take on this role. And yeah, like I said, we want to really build this into something that I hope can be a benefit to the bands that we showcase and the scene in general.
So you raise an interesting point there because you are both used to being on the other side of it. So what sorts of things have you learned from being on that side that you're bringing to this side that's gonna help you?
Oh, well, everything really. I mean, we know how bands think, what they want. It helps knowing, like, just getting good camera angles and knowing all that side of things as well, and also dealing with bands in terms of the recordings and the audio. I just know, especially in a live situation, because this is more, I guess, would be a capture. It's funny. It's kind of halfway between a studio recording and a live recording. So, like trying to get captured at a live show as well. So yeah, I guess being on stage means that we just know exactly what the bands are thinking and what they want, and hopefully we can, cater to them and try and make it as comfortable for them as possible, because and for them to have a good time. That's what we really want as well. We don't want it to be this high stress situation. We want them to relax and have fun and try and get the best possible performance we can out of them. And so far so good.
Wait, so I want to run through the process a bit more, mate. So basically, you get a band into the studio, you record their set, you ask them some questions, you compile the footage into a neat little package that's going to be published roughly once a month. And
Yep,
that's a nutshell, is it?
that's it in a nutshell. Yeah, at this stage.
Not rocket
Yep,
science.
there are a few other little sorry.
A lot of work, but it's not really rocket science, and it's something that people are screaming out for because it's like something you can use as a bio, even really, can you?
Totally. We want it to be basically one big giant promotional tool for the bands and for us. So there's three things that I've always really loved more than anything else on this side, on the back end side, not playing in a band, but and that's recording bands, filming bands, and printing t-shirts, which we'll get to. So that's the other element that goes into what we're doing here. And so I wanted to try and create a project that encompassed all those three things into the one thing, and then use it as a vehicle to help promote us and what we can do, and also promote the bands and give them a bunch of cool content, something really good that they can use. That's not just, you know something of actual good quality. So you can get live performance footage and stuff, but the audio is usually pretty shit. There are some people out there that are filming shows, but then sometimes I find the audio is not that great, and so for us, that's the primary concern, is actually trying to get a top quality product. So yeah, so that's kind of the idea behind the show, and yeah, like I said, just want to make it into one big giant promotional tool, basically.
which is perfect for the modern age, mate. Because like in my like my side of the fence on it, like whenever I'm trying to help bands get a decent support slot, the first thing the promoters ask for is live footage of the band so they can
Yep.
see what they perform like on stage, what they sound like. And all these bands are coming up with this stuff that someone's filmed off their phone. They go, "Here, give them this," and it's like, mate, do you really want this gig? You know, like I know you
Correct.
might not have anything else, but you're better off giving them nothing than giving them
Yep.
makes you sound like shit.
That's a funny thing you should say that because I've honestly I've seen some guys out there filming shows and doing something similar, but it's lacking in certain areas, and sometimes it's almost better to not capture it because if you sometimes you're doing the band a disservice by having the audio not sound that great. And if you're talking about metal bands especially, they really need their everything to be bang on and the mix to be great, or otherwise it can sound horrible. And sometimes I find that that's the case, and so that's definitely something that you know, we want to avoid doing by all means. And so yeah, it's good to hear that you say that. And for sure, like the episode itself is something that I hope that they can go for their lives, sort of spreading it around and using it for whatever they need to use it for. By all means, that would be fantastic if that's what they used it for.
Yeah, I know for a fact. I won't mention any names, but you know, there's a couple of times I've submitted a few bands at once to people higher up, and a band that I know would do a great job and is probably the best band out of those couple doesn't get it because their live video that they've submitted is inferior, and the other guys sounded better,
Yeah,
live, sounded more polished live, and
yeah,
they and so to progress in this industry, it's the little things like that, like the little attention to detail that you've really got to be tight on.
yeah. I agree. I agree. And look, there's just not that much out there to do it. Like I said, it's a tough thing to try and capture a live show that has good audio and visuals. That's the problem. Like there a lot more venues now do have multi-track recordings that you can get off the desk, but then you've also got to know how to mix it. So there's that side of it too. So, but not a lot. But I mean, phones these days have gotten a lot better, but still, it's chalk and cheese. When you get a full proper sounding recording mixed as it should and sounding schmicko, it's a world of difference.
It is for sure. So, are you only using bands that have something to actually promote, like an album coming out or a tour coming out? Like, is it just for that purpose, or are you taking anyone in?
No, at this stage, we'll take anyone. The only prerequisite is that you're a kick-ass live band. That's all we care about. That you're great at what you do on stage, and or just in a live performance setting, and that you're comfortable actually being recorded. And we want to do not just metal, not just rock. We want to do that's like I said. The prerequisite is that you're kick ass at what you do. I don't care. I'm up for the challenge of actually recording a whole bunch of different styles of music. That's where it's going to get really interesting and challenging for me. And yeah, so I mean, if bands have got like the first band that we just did, Scan On, they actually just very coincidental that they had their brand new album coming out at the same time, almost a week after we recorded their set. They had that coming out, so it was very coincidental. But if bands do have something coming up, I mean, we can coincide with that and tie it in. That would be great if they've got something else coming out or something new coming out. But at this stage, we're just looking for bands that we want to work with and bands that we've seen and bands that we know and bands that I personally want to actually record. I've got a couple in mind down the track that I'll wait until I've got myself a little bit more established before I actually ask them if they're interested in doing it. A few bands I want to tick off the bucket list. But yeah, so at this stage, we're just going to start looking for them ourselves and then see how things go. And if bands want to get in contact with us and send us some stuff to show us what they've got, and they want to do it, and they can prove that they're going to be worthwhile working with, then yeah, by all means.
Mm. Now, you don't just stop it. Like the band doesn't just come in and they get their little video, they get their interview and chuck it under their arm and off they go. Saying this is really cool. Like you're actually going a step above, and you've created a whole platform where you're airing these publicly so people can actually get a chance to see them.
Yeah, that's it. Like I don't want these to just be for the bands themselves. It's like I said, it's not something that we're offering as a service. This is like something that we're doing as a promotional thing. Like, so there's no cost involved in actually, the bands aren't paying for us to do this. We want to do this purely, like I said, as a way to promote the services that we can provide here, the recording, the filming, and the t-shirt printing. Yeah, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So we want to just provide that service for them, and yeah, no charge.
Yeah. So what happens with with I suppose the whole live material after that? Like, does that become the property of the band? Can they go away and release it as an album, if the live album, if they want? Can they do whatever they want with it, or is it still maintain rights?
Yeah, look, at this stage, that's something that we need to work out. The bands that I've spoken with so far, look, if the band want to buy the record, buy the recording from us, then we can work out a deal that way. Otherwise, it just will remain with us, and we'll stick it up on our Bandcamp page, and yeah, and we'll just put it out there for people to sort of pay $5 to get a copy of it if they want, and that can go back into sort of helping us with cover costs and stuff like that. But if the band are really happy with it and they want to buy it from us, that's by all means they can do that. But yeah, that's sort of where we're at with the audio side of things at this stage.
Wait, and I almost forgot to ask you, where are you actually showing these videos? Like, you've created a web page, or you've got something?
Yep, we got a brand new website that just went up, so that's where we're trying to get people to sort of go to. That'll be our base, but YouTube is where all the videos will be housed. And then we're utilizing our social media and the band's social media. It's sort of a great cross promotional thing too that we can use with the bands. I'm actually really impressed with Instagram at the moment. And this new collaboration tool that they've come up with is actually a social media company that have done something beneficial for
Oh,
the artists.
still don't know how to
It's like,
use it, mate. So I'm still a dinosaur with that shit.
look, it's actually something that's as far as I know, is relatively new. I'm just getting back into sort of social media full swing after a bit of a time away from it. But yeah, so the collaboration thing means that we can post something on our page and then collaborate with the band, and it will then show up on their page and go out to all of their fans, which means that yeah, it just opens up our audience much bigger, and helps us sort of promote what we're doing to the actual people that we want to see it. So it just saves me having to give the content to the band and then have them post it up on their page. It's really handy. It's like it's already come up a treat. Yeah, it's working a treat.
Yeah. And then what's the actual website, mate? Where do people go if they want to check it out?
That would be volumedealer.net.
Beautiful. Now we floated around this a little bit, mate, but you're also going to be releasing a limited edition line of merchandise for each band and each episode, which I think is a great idea, mate. So tell us more about that.
Yep. So this was basically the whole idea stemmed from me wanting to do this part of it, right? So I also do t-shirt printing and had a t-shirt company and merch company 10 years ago, and now I'm starting to get back into it again. And again, was looking for a way to sort of differentiate myself a little bit. And through my band, I've been doing the limited edition pre-order stuff and printing them here, and finding that works really well. So what we've decided to do as well is launch a limited edition pre-order run that goes along that coincides with each episode, and it'll basically the pre-order campaign will run sort of for about as long as the episode until we get to the next episode, basically. So it'll run for 3 to 4 weeks. We'll then take pre-orders of merch items that will only be available through that pre-order campaign, and that they're limited editions. So that's it. Once the campaign's over, you won't be able to get those again.
Once the next episode comes up, that's it. You
That's
haven't
it.
got
Then
it.
we're on to the next band, and off we go. And I mean, at this stage, I'd like to provide this as something that we do with every artist. But if they don't want to do it, that's fine. But again, we want to use this as a way to try and make the band a little bit of money, and make us a little bit of money as well. Obviously we got to cover some costs here, and that's what this is a promotional tool. But yeah, we can help the band sell a little bit of merch, and give the fans something different and interesting at the same time. That's the plan. And so basically run sort of at this stage there'll be 4 different garments that we're running with that'll have the same design, but they'll all be on different garments as well. So you get a hoodie, a t-shirt, or a long sleeve, a singlet, girls top, stuff like that. And in relations to the designs themselves, we're also I'm keen to actually talk with bands about trying to talk to some designers. Like if they've got anybody that they're actually interested in getting somebody to do a t-shirt design with, like they want to do a design with, that'd be great to sort of get them involved as well. And if we are able to even help promote the t-shirt designer on top of all of this, that would be another great little add-on as well. And I'll film myself printing the shirts and go through that whole process as well. And yeah,
Well, the plan is for it to be something totally new and unique just for that. So it's going to be not something the band's already selling on their websites. Something
no, that's it.
unique that
Yeah, look, one idea that we have had is that if the band say they want to get this design done after the limited edition part of it's over, then one idea that we did have was to have, say the standard t-shirt, it not be limited edition, but the other three items be limited. And so any money that gets made from those limited edition items can then go contribute towards a bigger run of t-shirts that they want to get printed of that other item. So again, trying to figure out a ways that we can eliminate the bands having to pay for their merch up front. They can actually, use that limited edition campaign to try and make a little bit of revenue that'll then go towards getting a bigger t-shirt print run done.
you're almost like a one-stop shop, bro. You just roll into Dan's place and fucking everything's done. It's great.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here, mate.
Now
As
today,
much as we can. I mean, that's it. I know from playing in bands and doing this for many years that all this stuff is all stuff that really comes in handy. And if you can get it all done in the one place and, with people that actually care and really give a shit about what goes on with bands and how they operate, then yeah, why not?
wait, now while we're on the subject of merch, you're still going to be running the full merch company alongside.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. So that's relaunching that. Volume Dealer would also be a merch company as well. And as time goes on, I'll start bringing in that'll basically be apparel to begin with, but then we'll be launching into other items as things progress and grow. But yeah,
Wait.
getting that back online as well. Like I said, there's a lot more competition than there was back when I was doing this. I started my company initially was in 2004, so that was pretty much. I mean, CDs were still a thing back then, and merch wasn't such as a huge thing as it is now. Like in terms of being important for bands, a lot of smaller bands at that time didn't really have merch, and then as things progressed over the 10 years that I had that business, it became one of the most vitally important things. And now there's a million merch companies all specializing in dealing with bands. So yeah, so getting back into that market is a little bit daunting, but at the same time, we're hoping to differentiate ourselves, not just doing the t-shirt printing, but also this other stuff that we got going on as well. And
Cool,
yeah,
cool. And then anyone that's bought any Frankenbok merchandise in the last whatever years, they can attest to the quality, mate. Like your shirts are good quality. Like I've got shirts here now that I only wash once a week, but they still haven't run. They haven't faded. So the
yep,
quality of your stuff is good, bro. So if anyone wants any merch out there, call Dan and get your shit happening.
that's it, mate.
Very good, mate. So today's very first episode was with Sunbury three-piece Scarnan. So why or how did they get the honor of being first cab off the rank?
Well, we kind of had I've had my sights on them for a little bit, as they were one of those bands that when I was wanting to get this happening, that I was definitely was on the cards to get them involved. And yeah, like I said, we played with them a couple of times, and I was completely blown out, especially since they got Sammy in the band. So they were a two-piece to begin with, the father and son duo, so Jack and Darren, and then they've got Sammy Crawford playing bass for him now. And yeah, it's just for a three-piece, they have such a monstrous sound. It's insane, and killer live band as well, just so good. So I definitely wanted to get them in, and we were going to talk to them, and we had a couple other bands that we approached before them that we thought, well, I'll just wait a little bit to get Scarn on in. We'd try and get things a little bit more established before I go asking those guys. But the other bands sort of couldn't commit to anything straight away. They had other commitments and couldn't do anything until sort of October, November. And so my brother actually hit them up, and they just jumped at the chance. So yeah, they were literally within one phone call, we had it booked in the next weekend, and they were raring to go. And like I said, it just happened to coincide with the new album coming out, which it all worked out perfectly. And in my discussions with them, I could understand why they were so interested in doing it. Like Darren, the drummer, he's big into this thing, as am I. It's kind of like an inspiration for me to actually want to do this. There's an online show called KEXP. It's like a radio station from over in the US that has a live studio room where they get bands in. And I've watched a bunch of their episodes, and it's one of those shows that is an inspiration for what I want to do. And Darren's also watched a bunch of those too and loves it, and always wanted to do something similar. So yeah, they were stoked, and been really got into the spirit of it. They've just been great. They were the perfect band for us to get things rolling with, and they just absolutely smashed it on the day. They just came in and fucking destroyed the place, man. It was such a high energy performance. It was a pleasure to film it and to capture it. It's one of those things where you just that's if you get a band and they're on fire and you're able to capture that, and in such in the way that we are, it is a special thing for me. And actually editing it, mixing it, listening to it, getting that side of it done, I was wrapped with the audio. I was like, fuck, this is so good. And then to take that and then start editing it together and having that all come together and just do the cuts and get the shots. And some of them I'm just laughing at how good some of the shots came out. Like there's one bit that Sammy does this thing on his bass where he just tunes down at the end of a song. It's this thing he did, and my brother captured it perfectly, and it was just like, that's poetry, mate. So yeah, it was awesome, and they were absolutely stoked with the end result, and that was a huge relief for me to hear they were really really happy with how it came out, and as they should be. But it's a lot. It is easy for us to do and for me to do my job when they do such a good job. You know, it's yeah.
Cool. Now, I had a little bit of a look at the website today, and there's a band called Moth on there. Does that mean they're going to be the second episode?
No, no. So okay, so we did a little bit of a pilot. So as a little bit of a test run for um, for the episode, I needed to sort of run through things and just get things happening before we actually launch things officially. And a friend of mine and Andrew's uh, son plays in a band, and so my brother was speaking to them, and they were keen to come in and spend a night with us. And yeah, so they're a very up and coming young band. They've only played a handful of shows, and so yeah, Zach, the bass player, he didn't actually tell the band that they were coming to be filmed on the night. They thought they were just coming in to do a bit of recording or something, and they walk in the room and there's cameras and lights and all this shit, and so yeah, they were a little bit taken aback by it all, but they actually did a really good job. So that's like another sort of rewarding thing that we did, because those guys had never really heard their songs recorded in such a way. They've only recorded stuff on their phones, and hearing themselves live at shows, and not get I know what it's like being on stage and having an awful sound, and so they've never really actually heard their songs sound properly recorded, and so they were pretty blown out by what I sent back to them, and so that was an interesting experience. It was good. I was sort of happy with how that came out, and I thought, well, if I can make a band who's this green and this sort of new look good, then I'm onto something here. So so yeah, so no, they're not the next band. They were just a little test pilot thing that I thought I'll leave that up there, and yeah, give those guys a bit of exposure. But we just had our second band come in last week, and they're a band called Sugartone, who I actually saw play. This is another young band, so these guys are relatively new, but they actually were headlining a show that Moth were playing at.
Okay.
And so we went down to see the Moth guys play after the week after they'd come in and did their recording. And I caught these guys Sugartone at the show, and I was blown out by how good they were. I was like, wow, like these guys are really impressive. It's very hard to put your finger on kind of what style they are. They're definitely very different to what's going on. They're more of a sort of a proggy type band, a bit of Muse influence, but there's a bunch of different stuff going on with these guys. And yeah, just young dudes. And so we they'd seen what we'd done with the Moth guys and contacted us actually, but we were definitely going to contact them and ask them if they were interested in doing it. So yeah, so we had them in last Thursday night, and yeah, it went really well. So I'm just halfway through sort of mixing and editing it at the moment, and I'm really happy with the results so far. So that'll be the next one, which will be out probably in about hopefully 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sort of still finding out how much work is involved in doing this, but it's it's actually not it's going how I would hoped it would go. Actually, I'm not finding that I'm like going, oh shit, what have I got myself in for here? I think with the advent of like the editing program I'm using and stuff like that, that's just speeding up the process a little bit. Like it's going how I would like it to go. Obviously, the quicker I can get these done, the more of them I can do. And so we're going to start it at once every sort of three weeks or so. But I'm hoping to get it down to once every 2 weeks, once a week, and and then finally quit my goddamn job and do this full time. That's the plan.
That's
So yeah, that's what I'd like to do. That's our ambition. We both, for me and my brother, to quit our crappy jobs and do this full time.
right. Yeah. Now we did talk about this before, mate, but I think it's important to reiterate. Like most people associate you with heavy metal, like you're a heavy metal singer, but
Yeah.
not just heavy metal that you concentrate on it. You can come in if you play a ukulele and you want something done. You can come in and have a talk to you about it. It's like you're not just pigeonholing one genre of music.
No. As a matter of fact, I mean, I'll probably won't be doing a great deal of metal bands, to be honest. Like, I mean, I'd sure, but there's so many different styles of music, and I mean, I might play heavy metal, but I don't really listen to it anymore, and I haven't for a long time. And so my musical tastes are completely different. But I'm just looking for the challenge of recording all kinds of different styles of music, actually. So yeah, I'm down for anything, really, and I'd like it to be that eclectic. Like I said, it's just as long as you're really good at what you do and a good live performance or artist, solo artist, doesn't matter. We've got our eyes set on. There's this band that me and my girlfriend go and watch, or performer that's I want to get her full band in. They're kind of like a gypsy sort of band. They play that sort of Romanian gypsy type stuff, and that's going to be a challenge because they're like a geez, I think they're like a 6 piece, 7 piece band, and they got trumpets and bloody keyboards and yeah, a bunch of different stuff. But I've seen them play. We saw them at a wedding actually, and they were phenomenal. And so I'd love to get them in one day. That'd be great. So yeah, I'm up for anything. Jazz bands, I don't care. I really don't care. Like the more diverse it is, the better and the bigger the challenge it'll be for me and the more fun it'll be. I just don't want to do the same stuff over and over. That's for sure. But yeah, we'll see where it goes, man.
Sweet.
You
So
just don't know. It's just get it started and see. And I mean, I've got ambitions to do, we'll go for some big guns as time progresses, hopefully too. And I said, you know, we're looking to start with the Melbourne bands, but if they're interstate bands, we've also thought, well, if interstate bands are coming down to Melbourne and we know they're coming down to Melbourne and they've got a show on Saturday night and they're sitting around Saturday afternoon with nothing to do, well, we'll get them in the studio for the afternoon. It doesn't take long. Like we can be done within a couple of hours. And so, we're definitely, once we ramp things up, start looking at some interstate bands and then maybe some international bands. That would be pretty freaking sick too. So, yeah, see how we go.
wait. Now just say someone's watched this, mate, and they think it's a fantastic idea. What do they do? Do they pick up the phone and call you? Do they email you? Do they fill out a form on the website? Like how do they get in contact with you to make it happen?
Well, I mean, okay, so this is going to be our biggest challenge, obviously, I mean, there's so many bands and so many good bands, so it's going to be sort of tough for us to sort of and be able to do everyone and everything. But honestly, we're going to start with looking at bands that we want to do and we want to work with to begin with. But if somebody's really keen and they want to get involved, just get in contact with us. Go to our social media. Just look for Volume Dealer. Go to the website volumedealer.net and contact us there. Show us what you got, man. If you got some stuff and you really think that you want to do it, and you can show us some footage of you. Like I said, you need to see how good you are live. studio recordings are one thing, but I know that that's not a great reflection of a band, like a live band, especially these days. You can polish a turd. So, I want to see what you can do actually live. So if you've got stuff that you can send to us and you want in on this, then yeah, by all means, shoot it through and we'll see how we go.
Fantastic, Dan. Well, thanks very much today, mate. I would wish you luck with it, but I don't need to, mate, because it's a fantastic idea, mate. It's definitely gonna have a place in bands and music moving forward, bro. So Volume Dealer is the name. Episode 1 is out now with Scarnan. All the social media. Rip it up, brother. Best of luck.